Just so we're clear, I am never good-natured before coffee. After coffee is questionable, but never before coffee. Oh boy, please join me in welcoming the team from the NRPB, the National Recovery Program Bureau. And I guess we start with the boss,
Mm,
the director himself. Clark Connor, welcome to the program.
Dr. Sock, thank you so much. Good morning to you, your listeners locally and abroad.
Well, thank you, sir. Who have you brought with you this morning?
Well, I brought two special ladies with me this morning.
You're a lucky man.
I am lucky. I am lucky, and I don't take that for granted. We have with us here in the studio two individuals from the procurement department, and I will allow them to introduce themselves. I think they do a very good job at it. So I would call them names that they're not. They're saying that they're officers, and I will tell them they're specialists. In my eyes, they're specialists. So go ahead.
This specialist is Mishnu.
Mishnu, how you doing, my dear?
Mishnu Arundel. Hi, Dr. Sock. How are you today?
Very good. Mishnu and I go back a long time,
I see that she's
Yeah.
very comfortable in here.
Yeah. Well, listen, we brought in her former life. I bought, how like when you're a kid, you wear the pajamas, you wear the onesies.
Yes.
So I got an adult version of the onesies in her
And so
former,
did I.
and we did the morning show in her from her former employer in the sleep gallery.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
I need that to be explained further because there's some images in my mind who needs attention. Have to be adjusted.
Well,
Onesies.
could I say that we slept together?
Onesies.
What? I don't think that. Shut up, son. No, that's there was no
And,
sleeping.
and
but
all,
that's only
all
gonna
of a
make it-
sudden,
it's
all of a
only gonna
sudden,
make it-
but Dr. Sock,
Everyone
all of a
is tuning
sudden,
in.
all of a sudden, the hammering stopped. Right?
There was no sleeping. This is not how I expected this party to go.
Misha, no, this is another side.
We were selling mattresses, so there was
That's
no.
the best way to do it.
I mean, we're selling mattresses. We'll do the morning show from bed. It was a time. We actually
That's
had a good time.
beautiful.
Yeah, it was great. But today,
We're talking about not mattresses. Who else have you brought?
well, I'm here with my colleague, Rena Richardson.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Rena Richardson. I'm a procurement officer at the NRPB.
Pleasure to meet you. You see what
here.
happens? But just so you know, I still have the onesie, and whenever I go up north and it's cold, I take it with me because it's super nice and warm.
And I
Was-
wear mine during Christmas time because it's very cold.
But was this like a live
We-
online?
No, we
Streaming?
No, we brought the whole remote studio over, set it up by the side of the bed.
Oh,
and the
so you
sleep-
guys were actually in bed with the.
Yes.
Okay,
we
that's
did
cool.
we did the morning show live from
That's,
bed at your former employer.
That's some serious marketing there.
It was fun.
Yeah.
We had a good
I
time.
can imagine.
It was.
What time of the day was it?
At the morning, so
Was
it
the
was
morning-
the
was
morning
it-
show.
Yeah, it was early.
So we
It was
kicked
early.
off the morning until about 10, 11.
I think we did like 9 to 11 that morning.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
A little sleeping late.
And the rest of the team was also in PJs, so it was nice.
That's nice. That's
It was
nice.
it was fun.
That's
So I have a question. I know we're here to talk about procurement. For those folks that don't even, what is procurement? What does that big word
Nice
mean?
question.
What does that big word mean?
Okay, so keeping it really plain, procurement is the acquisitions of external work, services, and goods. So whatever we don't have internally, we have to reach out to the market to get.
So in other words, if I run out of coffee for the coffee machine,
It would be a bad morning.
it would be a very bad
Yeah,
morning.
it would be a bad morning.
Because I'm not nice without my coffee, but since I don't have it internally, those are goods that I need to procure and
Correct.
bring in.
Indeed.
Okay,
Indeed.
okay, so that makes
And
it
and if you take it broad in the St. Martin context, we actually produce absolutely nothing, a very little. Let's just
we
put it.
we
that.
make we here. This is what I used to tell my students at USM. I know I always ask the question, "What do we make on St. Martin?" And
Memories.
they would all look at me and we make some rum and we make some cheese, and I'm like, really, and a little bit of, we grow some stuff and some eggs and some chickens and stuff. No, we make, listen, all of the stuff that we actually make here, the rum and that stuff, not big enough to really count.
But it's not from natural
Yeah.
not from natural products either. We bring in stuff and we compile it, right? We
Right,
put
yeah.
it together.
Right. What we really make here are smiles and memories.
Memories and smiles.
That's
for
what
sure.
we make here. I figured that should be
For
our
sure.
that should be our new marketing slogan.
So going back to the procurement element, we have to procure most everything that we are responsible for with regard to the various projects and activities that we are responsible for. So procurement is a very important department within NRPB. We have about 10 persons working on procurement. I think like 5 or 6 locally, and then
That's
supported by about 4 internationally. And this department handles every single aspect of procurement with regard to not only the internal services but also the services within the trust fund and projects.
So if the trust fund, or there's an NRPB project to build X, whatever X happens to be, the procurement is all of the goods and the services and everything that you need to get to finish the project.
Imagine this, right? Procurement, a project would require, for instance, a specialist in the area of whatever expertise, right? And that specialist would have to then be sorted. The terms of reference would have to be drafted. We have to go to the market to get that specialist. Now, that specialist is coming in to serve a particular area in a project, but the first step in securing that specialist is a process that happens within the procurement department, right? And then if that's the service, and then you need equipment, you need material, everything happens within this department. So it's one of the key internal operational departments that we have with regard to everything in the portfolio.
So when we start to think about this, let's say I'm repairing a school. We've got lots of those going on. I can think of 2 really off the top, 1 or 2 of them off the top of my head. And the procurement process would be everything from securing the contractors to do the work and all the materials and the labor and everything.
Yep.
And okay, so what is the actual process? How does one procure stuff?
Okay, so let's take an example. I'm going to take an example of works. For instance, you said repairs to the schools, for instance. So once a project is established in the NRPB, there's a PPSD which is made. This is basically
what's a PPSD?
It's a strategic document which outlines the market approach, the best way to handle things. It's made at the beginning. So all in this document, we mention all the activities which might come up during the lifespan of the project, right? So once this project is ready to be launched, the project team would then come to procurement and say, "Hey, procurement, we are ready to launch the repairs for XYZC." That's the name of school. Sister Regina School, for instance.
How about Sister Marie Lawrence?
Oh, okay, Sister
Well,
Marie
that
Lawrence.
one's-
That's actually a reconstruction program.
That one's near to my heart.
That one
because
is
of
there.
Rotary.
Okay, so we'll say, okay, we're ready to launch the reconstruction of the Sister Marie Lawrence School, for instance. What they would have to provide for us is all the technical specifications. That would be the drawings, the reports, everything that they have to give to the bidders to actually complete this project. They give to the procurement department.
So then the bidders could then people that want to actually do the work could then submit a proposal to you and say, "I
Yes.
can do everything."
Based on
Yes,
I-
based on these specifications that we receive from from the project team.
and
Once
the,
this
the,
is-
the
oh.
importance of specifications is because you want it in a very particular way. So an individual might be good at woodwork, but you want concrete, or someone might be very good at concrete, but you need steel.
Right.
So it has to be very much defined in what is the expectation in terms of executing that project, and the procurement puts that in a document,
Yes.
and that's how it's responded to.
So when you send all of that information out and people then reply with their bids.
Yes, so
say,
this-
I can do this for X, I can do this for Y, I can do this for Z.
Yes, but it's not all that simple. While we have to look at once we receive the information, we then establish which market approach will we do. So we look at what we have available here on the island. So that determines if we're going to go national or we're going to go international. And we want it to be as competitive as possible. So we do an open competitive process. So in this case, we say, okay, the market is a bit saturated with projects. We might have to go open international. While this money is from while we're doing this based on the World Bank procurement regulations, we have to follow their guidelines. So which means we would have to use their standard procurement document. So if we would choose then the open international request for bids, small works, because the price falls under, or it's categorized as a small works. So all this information that we receive, we place in this document, and with this document, we go to the market. So when we are ready to launch, we'd launch on the NRPB Facebook page, the NRPB social media page. We also enter it in STEP, which is, Claret, help me out here.
Systematic tracking and
Okay, so
systematic tracking.
A piece of a system.
it's a system indeed. So this system,
Procurement.
yes, this system outlines all the steps we must follow. And this is also shared with our counterparts on the World Bank side.
Okay.
Okay, so once this is launched, we give the bidders the opportunity to download or to receive the specifications, so the request for bids. In there lies the instructions of how to put in the bid, the time when to put into bid, all the specification received from the technical team, shared contracts, so they can already see what we expect from them once they sign the contract, and any other instructions that they may require.
So what I think this then does, though, is because all bidders are following the same set of rules.
Correct.
That you get apples to apples to apples, as opposed to comparing apples to oranges to bananas.
And that's very key, Sak. I mean, the step is systematic tracking in exchanges of procurement. So basically, we cover every step and it's documented. Why? Because we have to be transparent. We have to be diligent.
It's public money.
It is like very much so. It's public funds. So and we only have this one opportunity. So we can't screw it up. But what is important in terms of this process is that time also is a very scarce resource. And the fact that St. Martin does not have a huge market in terms of reconstruction, we have about three companies that can handle large bids. You don't want to say, well, let's try the local market first for a $5 million or $8 million project, knowing that we don't have the proven support or the proven ability for this, and then it fails.
Right.
Why? Because then you have to go over, and it may take that process may take 7 to 9 months, and then if it fails, you probably can expedite it in, let's say, maybe 3 to 5 months, right? But that means that this entire process from beginning to end would have taken over a year.
Right.
And you don't want to find yourself there, because if a bid fails, we have to re-tender. And the retendering of a bid means that there will be some adjustments.
We gotta start over.
Basically. And we don't have a lot of time. So that's why when Rena said they will see what the market can potentially offer. Sometimes you say, well, it can be national because these are small works. We have enough companies here that can bid and we can get the contract. But if it's large, that possibility shrinks, and to the point where you would have to say, well, let's go international.
Do we often find, or are we hearing that our local companies are finding it challenging to compete on this level with the World Bank standards of procurement?
It is quite exhaustive. But like I always say, what is difficult isn't impossible if you understand how to approach it. And what you can do, this is business. You have a radio station here. There's about 12 or 14 others like you here. And if you need to collaborate, if you need to create a venture to go at something bigger than what you're used to, then we encourage companies to join together, and pool their resources.
Well, there's times to work together and there's times to compete against each other, right?
Exactly. And this is a time to work together. Why? Because then you will guarantee that the majority of the work stays on island. However, if a company wins, if an international company wins a bid on for any of the works in the trust fund, they have to register on St. Martin. So they have to register with the tax office, register with the economic affairs at the chamber, and they have to be a locally registered company.
Okay, well, that's important to know. So, I I know the reason I asked the question about, are the local firms feeling that it's harder to do things this way, and I think the answer is yes, because
It is.
we like I need coffee. I call the folks at Divico and say, please send over, or I go over and procure it myself,
Yeah.
right? This and none of this is public money, right? When I do it that way, now it is. So, are we doing anything to help try and move or educate our local firms on how to move through
You're so good at this.
procurement process?
You're so good at this. Oh my God, you're so
I don't ever ask a question I don't know the answer to.
No, go ahead.
And that's why we have actually
That's why I was
put
looking at
together.
this. Next time, wear your onesie, though, okay?
It's too bright. No, but that's why we've actually put together a very comprehensive event for next week, Tuesday, the 17th of June. There's going to be a procurement information session that is open for everyone, so the general public, and in particular, what we would hope is that a lot of companies, agencies, contractors would be able to come next week. Registration starts at 5:30, and the presentations on exactly what procurement is, how the process is, how you can get involved, how to go about submitting, your the necessaries to compete for a bid. That all of that information is going to be available next week during the presentation. So we encourage everyone that is interested in working on a project with NRPB today or even 6 months from now to come to Ali's Community Center next week, Tuesday, for the presentation.
Well, there you go. See, then you'll know what you need to
You
do.
will know.
You'll learn the process. You'll learn what you need to know, and be able to do it in the World Bank lingo and format.
Exactly. And not only are we giving information, but it's an opportunity for you to ask questions. Really delve into what can I do? How can I do it? How can I go about preparing myself so that I also have a fair chance of,
Of winning a piece of one of the bids.
Exactly.
The other thing that this I think will kind of also develop on its own is, we talked about there's times to compete and there's times to collaborate and cooperate. You're going to be there with, other businesses.
It's a
similar.
perfect networking opportunity.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly. So once again, that's Tuesday the 17th.
Next week, Tuesday, the 17th of June. Registration starts at 5:30 p.m. The presentations start at 6 p.m. and we'll be able to wrap up by 8:30 p.m.
Perfect.
And for
Wonderful.
those that's out there working the whole day, and just the thought of coming in at 5:30 is a bit demotivating. I can always draw you out with food, so I'll have I'll have some bites, some refreshments, but the information will be critical.
I'm just coming for the snacks. I'm teasing you.
That's okay. You still hear something while you're there, but the information is critical. It's useful, and it could definitely set you up for the future.
Brilliant. Guys, I can't thank you enough for coming in and spending a little time with us this morning. We're going to get back together on Monday
yeah.
as well, and talk a little bit more about procurement and make sure that everybody knows about the event that's coming up on the 17th. This is a great opportunity to learn more, get yourself involved, and keep some of the public money that is coming, through the NRPB. Keep some of it here on the island,
Exactly.
and make it all work. So
Yeah.
brilliant.
Indeed.
Dr.
Brilliant.
Salk, if I may, since you said the reconstruction of the Sister Marie Laurent School was so dear to your heart, we launched that tender yesterday.
Yay!
So if you visit the NRPB website page, you will see the link where you can download and register. We are also using this is the first project that we're doing through our bonfire e-procurement system.
And that also would be presented on Tuesday
Tuesday.
evening.
Great. Do we have when do we think that project when do we think we'll start to see hands and shovels in the ground over there? Any idea?
You know, that's such a one of those expected statements or
Yeah.
questions, because like we was talking about earlier, the procurement is a process that happens so that we can get to the grounds and the
Yeah.
shovels and the blocks, etc. But to get to that point, all of this needs to happen. So for us as an institution, we know the work has started. For the public, the work starts when some guy is up there jackhammering, right?
Right, exactly.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So and not to divert from the question, but the trust fund has a portfolio of projects that it has to execute within a period of time. It started in 2018 and it will end in 2028, so that's 10 years. We are making our way through the entire process of the trust fund. When the school is supposed to be handed over and complete, I think it's 2027, if I'm not mistaken. So of course by next year you'll see that guy there with the you know the
Shovel.
bulldozer and the shovels and the hammer.
Perfect. I want to be there for
But
it.
it will not happen if everything is not lined up properly.
Got to do it the right way.
And
No.
when you do it the right way, guess what? You only have to do it once.
Bingo.
There you
Guys,
go.
thank you for coming in. We'll
Thank
see you on
you.
Monday.
Thank you.
It is 10:55 right here in the Northeast Caribbean. Take a quick commercial break and then come back and get ready to say goodbye.